15th, 2017 at 2 p.m. in council chambers. So first up, we are going to have some adoption of some minutes. The Committee of the Whole meeting minutes of May the 1st, 2017, the Parcel Tax Roll review meeting minutes of May the 1st, 2017, the regular open minutes of May the 1st for adoption, and the special open minutes of May the 3rd for adoption. So could we have a motion to adopt those? Thank you very much. Councillor Camp, who's this? Rhodes? I'm sorry. Yeah. Councillor Rhodes, Councillor Youngberg, all in favor. Thank you very much. No business arising from minutes. Introduction of late items. I would like to read a resolution that business item 3, unsightly property, 8308 70th Avenue, be moved to delegations item 2, and that the agenda be changed. And we need to add business item number 6, boat trailer parking, a report from this morning. So could we please have a motion? Thank you, Councillor Rhodes, Councillor Campbell, that we add those two and adopt the minutes as, or adopt the agenda as adjusted. Is that correct? Good, thank you. So next is delegation, and I would like to ask Chelsea Cameron Horner, candidate for Miss Canada Petite, to come up to the microphone. Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor McCordoff and Town Council members. My name is Chelsea Cameron Horner, and I'm 25 years old, and I was born and raised in Osoyoos. I previously reigned as Osoyoos Princess in 2008, and then went on to represent my hometown on a provincial level, taking part in the British Columbia Ambassador Program. And now I'm proud to represent my hometown for a third time on a national stage at the Miss Canada Petite pageant in August, which is part of the Miss Canada Globe Productions. This pageant believes in empowering Canadian women and helping them be successful by helping them adopt self-confidence and poise to help them better themselves in their lives. This pageant is kind of unique because everyone will walk away with a title, be it national, regional, city, or a provincial title. So I will go on to continue to represent the community for the year after the pageant in August. So it's really important for me to be an active member in my community because I will be representing my community for quite a while. So I'm excited for this endeavor, and I would just like to thank Council for inviting me today.
And can you tell us where this conference is and where you'll be representing?
It'll be in Toronto, and we'll have our preliminaries there in Toronto, and then you'll have your final pageant night as well. It's all about a week-long process. We have training, and then rehearsals, preliminaries, and then the pageant.
I have never heard of this program before. Is this something fairly new, or has it been going on for a while?
It was actually, it became an official pageant in the year 2000, so it has been going on for quite a while. But I don't think there's as many delegates from BC. And the pageant is kind of unique because they have four different main titles. The petite part for anyone under the height of 5'5", and then the Miss Canada Globe and Miss Teen Canada Globe are their separate programs. Okay. And the pageant actually sends up to 20 delegates per year to international pageants. And it's not just the national title holders that are welcome to attend, so I could have an opportunity to represent my hometown on an international level as well.
Well, I certainly wish you every success at this, and good for you to find out about this type of program and take part in it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to give you information from the pageant itself and some letters I've written about the program and my participation for you to keep.
Good. Would you give them to Mrs. Hilson, please, because she will look after them for us?
And then I was wondering, at the end of the meeting, could I have a photo with the town council?
Absolutely. And did you want? I'm wondering if it would be easier to do it right now.
Okay, if you
could, we do that? Is that way? Chelsea doesn't.
You can do whatever you want.
Thank you.
long as Brianne says so.
As long as Brianne allows us to. So I'm just wondering did you just want to have us standing up here? And
Sure, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could we,
Why
would
don't
that
we-
be?
Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam
Absolutely,
Clerk.
sorry.
Chelsea, did you want anything from us, or like is there a letter of reference, or
No, just the community support would be
just the
appreciated.
awareness? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair
Good.
enough.
Well, the press is here, so perhaps they will do something for you too.
And
Now,
can I just mention one more thing?
yes.
As part of the pageant, you have a personal platform, and that's an opportunity to represent a charity or an organization or a cause that you're passionate about.
Yes.
And I've chosen to represent the rare disease community because I myself have one of the 7,000 recognized rare diseases in the world. So I'm happy to use the platform as a chance to raise more awareness for rare diseases.
A good idea. Good for you. Okay, so if you got, somebody's got a camera.
Blinded by that flash.
Yeah, no kidding.
So next on our agenda is business item number 3, and that would be on page 121. So is this Miss Van Vienen? Thank you,
Thank
Miss
you.
Van Vienen.
The property more commonly known as 8308 70th Avenue has been the subject of unsightly property complaints for several years. Most recently, the town has received complaints regarding the unsightliness of the property with respect to old derelict vehicles, discarded shingles, weeds, and other garbage and discarded materials. The latest complaint received by the town came on November 8, 2016. The bylaw officer inspected the property and responded by sending an unsightly letter to the owner on November 14, 2016. On November 25, 2016, the property was again inspected by the bylaw officer and the property had not been cleared as required in the notice. After several attempts to have the property owner comply, our lawyer Jeff Locke sent a letter to the property owner on December 20, 2016, requiring that the property be cleared no later than April 15, 2017. No action has been taken by the property owner to date. Specifically, the following are the unsightly issues on the property. Asphalt roof shingles are strewn mostly along the side yard of the property. Discarded items such as old benches and barrels are throughout the property. Wood planks, boards, sheets, and other lumber are displayed on the property. The property owner has been asked to neatly pile and cover with a tarp. There is overgrown brush, grass, and other landscaping. There are 5 vehicles on the property. One of these vehicles is known to be the property owner's regular vehicle. 4 of them have been confirmed to not have insurance. One of these 4 vehicles, 3 are deemed to be derelict vehicles. The other vehicles is an older model Chevrolet car that appears to be in good condition. Under the town's Good Neighbor bylaw, derelict vehicle means a vehicle or part thereof which is physically wrecked or disabled, is not capable of operation under its own power, and does not have attached number plates for the current year pursuant to the Motor Vehicle Act regulations. On May 1, 2017, a letter was sent by the Director of Corporate Services to the property owner advising that if the property was not cleaned with respect to the above 5 points by May 8, 2017, the town would take action under its bylaws to correct. The property owner was also given some options as to how to deal with the derelict vehicles. This same letter gives the property owner the right to appeal the notice by appearing before council at the May 15, 2017 regular open meeting to give reason why he should not have to clean his property. He is in attendance and he should be given the opportunity to address council on this issue. Council is in the position to give direction as to the level of cleaning of the property, including the removal of the vehicles and other discarded materials, and set a date by which the cleaning must be completed by the property owner, or the town will, by its workers or others, at all reasonable times and in a reasonable manner, enter onto the property and clear it as required at the property owner's expense. The cost shall consist of all costs and expenses incurred by the town to achieve compliance with the bylaws and will include administrative costs, contractor costs, and the costs of removal and cleanup and disposal of the materials. The vehicles can be sold for scrap metal, with the proceeds of the sale being put toward the cost of the cleanup of the property. However, it is expected that the cleanup costs will be higher than the value of the vehicles. Implications for community: ensuring all properties are kept in a neat and tidy condition for the enjoyment of all. Organizational: time spent by bylaw officer and staff to ensure the bylaws are enforced. Budget: at this point, the costs will be billed back to the property owner. However, legal expenses have already been incurred, which will be paid by the town. Those costs are unknown at this time. Significant dates: the property owner has been given more than sufficient time to clear the property. It is suggested that a time period of 2 weeks be given to the property owner to comply, being June 5th, 2017. Sustainability: ensuring that the bylaws of the town are being enforced and ensuring that all properties are kept in a tidy condition. Options: number 1, that the property owner of 8308 70th Avenue, Lot 11, Plan 3085, DL 2450S be advised that council deems his property to be unsightly pursuant to Good Neighbor Bylaw number 1277/2011 and amendments thereto, and that the property owner be ordered to clear the property as follows: by removing all discarded asphalt roof shingles from the property, by removing all discarded items including the old benches and barrels, all wood, planks, boards, sheets, and other lumber upon the property to be piled neatly along the property and securely covered with a tarp. All overgrown brush, grass, and landscaping to be cleared and removed from the property. The 3 unlicensed and derelict vans, specifically the gray Chevrolet van, the brown Chevrolet camper van, and the burgundy van, to be removed from the property. And further, that the property owner be advised that should he not comply with this order by June 5th, 2017, council will, by its workers or others, at all reasonable times and in a reasonable manner, enter onto the property and clear it as required at the property owner's expense. The cost shall be consisting of costs and expenses incurred by the town to achieve compliance with the bylaws, and will include administrative costs, contractor costs, and the costs of removal, cleanup, and disposal of the materials. And further, that if the vehicles are not removed by the property owner, that they be sold for scrap metal, with the proceeds of the sale being put toward the cost of the cleanup of the property. And further, that the property owner be advised that should the cost of the cleanup not be paid by December 31st, 2017, that the cost will be added to his property taxes as taxes in arrears. Or 2, that council give direction as stated in 1 above, but that the order to remove the vehicles be removed. 3, that council make no direction as to the cleanup of this property, and that the property owner be permitted to have his property remain as it is. Or 3, that council give the owner more time than the 2 weeks to clear the property. Staff recommend option 1, and we did have pictures taken this morning by the bylaw officer that we can show council as what the state was this morning, showing that he has not made an attempt to clean the property.
Okay. Thank you very much. Ms. Van Vienen, in here you have said 2 weeks and a couple of times, and 2 weeks from today is actually the 31st of May. So 3 weeks is, and so I'm just wondering if you meant 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
That would be up to council. If you want to decide 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you can make that determination.
Because you said 2 weeks and actually the date is 3 weeks.
Okay.
So what we'll just,
sure.
3 weeks is fine because it says June 5th.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So before we decide to continue with this, the property owner is here. Would you like to come up to the microphone and speak?
Brianne, can you show the pictures up on the screen? Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, I got a letter saying that I had to do this, and that. Okay. I did this, that, and that. Meanwhile, I get a bill for over $400 from this person that's supposed to have done the work that I did. So I'd like the explanation to that for a start.
And I'm not sure who could give you that kind of an explanation. Has somebody in the town given Mr. Crowley an explanation?
Yes, he received an explanation. This matter came before council last year with a dispute on the costs incurred by the town to clean up the property, and we cleaned up the weeds at that time, and that matter was resolved.
Okay.
How was it resolved?
You were advised that council did not waive the charges and that you were responsible for paying what was owing to the town.
But why should I pay for something that I did. They didn't do it, I did it.
No, the contractor was hired. I was there with the contractor while he cut the grass on the backyard.
And that,
And that's when you came out and demanded I came off the property, and we stopped. It's deceased, and we stopped it, and the RCMP showed up as well.
yeah,
If this was decided and dealt with in a council meeting prior to this, can we not close that matter and move on?
Yeah, I think it sounds like it was dealt with, and with everybody involved, and you were advised of that, and the RCMP was also present, and they were advised.
Yeah.
So is there, and I understand that you may not agree with that, but that was what was decided. I believe it was in December. Was it in December?
That was
Some,
decided, yeah.
about that time. So since then there have been some other things, Mr. Crowley. Is there anything else that you needed to?
well, what I'm trying to get at is I'm on the hook for a bill over $500 for something that I cleaned up myself. They told me that I had to clean certain things up, and I got a letter saying that if I cleaned this, that, and that up, then everything was more or less forgotten about.
Well, I think we've dealt with that, but we do have some pictures here that were taken today, and so it seems that there are several other issues that are on there today. Mrs. Hilson,
Yeah, but
could you go?
they weren't mentioned in that letter that I first got.
Yeah, no, because that was quite some time ago. But I believe that we need to move on from that letter because that was resolved as far as we were concerned.
But
I know
it
that.
resolved as far as
I
I'm
know.
concerned.
We totally understand that you have a different point of view, but I think we need to move on from what's happened for the last 4 months and what's still there today. Those are the concerns that we have now. So there are several vehicles there, as Ms. Van Vienen read. There are several piles of wood that need to be done. It was all listed here.
They're going to be cut up for firewood.
And that's okay, but I think you were asked to pile them up and not just leave them there. So it doesn't look
but
like.
How can you get at it if you pile everything up and you want to say there's certain pieces that you want to cut up
Yeah.
and maybe there's other pieces that you want to salvage?
No,
You've got to go through that pile all over and over again.
no,
This
and
doesn't make sense.
I understand your concern about it, but what we're dealing with is the unsightliness of the property right now, and I think there have been several letters sent, and so we are going to have to vote on this, on which of these options we feel is the fairest one, and so we just wondered if you had anything to say about what's happened recently and the pictures that you see today.
Well, them vehicles there are all going to be utilized one way or the other. The brown van that I drive, I'm going to take the motor out of that and put it in the gray one. And then the other brown one is camperized, so I'm going to take the camperized stuff out of that and put it in the gray van. And the red car isn't mine.
So, and I realize that we see this differently, but I do think that the town has gone through the proper procedure for quite some time, and the bylaw officer, our corporate officer, the RCMP, and we've all looked at it and given plenty of options, and I'm afraid that we don't see that there has been any start on any of this from your point of view. So we need to make a
Start on
decision.
the shingles.
Well,
See,
we
beside
understand there
that-
are some.
Beside the garage, there's a bit of a gully. So that's why when I got a new roof on my place, I told them to put them there.
They were right here, but they've just been moved further down the house.
And that's why I'm putting them in. I'm putting them in that little gully there. Then I
So
plan
they're still
on.
there.
Then I plan on putting dirt over that. Then over that, I plan on putting topsoil, and then I'm going to plant grass over that.
Does anybody from council have any Mr. Councillor Rhodes? And then-
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. So I live in your neighborhood, and my question to you is those vans and those vehicles have been sitting there as far back as my memory goes.
That's right.
And if you had plans to do that, first off, you should have acknowledged that. And I'm not here to lecture you, it's just an observation that I have. And perhaps maybe move forward in that direction. There has been no activity with those vehicles for the longest time. You know, we are inundated with unsightly premises in this town. Last time I heard we were at about 75. And, you know, yours has come to the surface because there's been nothing done about it at all. Nothing that a resident in the neighborhood
But
could
there
have.
has been something done.
I'm not here to argue with you. I'm just telling you what my position is in this. And, you know, as Mayor McCordoff said, the purpose of you being here is to convince us otherwise. But you can't just say words with no actions. Otherwise, this will move forward.
Seems like I'm going around in circles. As I said, I got a letter saying do this. There was some telephone poles there. There was some furniture there. And I'll admit it looked a hell of a bloody mess.
Well, that's the way things are.
So
Still.
this man comes down and he's got the contract to move all this stuff. So what does he start on? He starts on the grass. Why wouldn't you start by removing the stuff that's on top of the grass? For this, he gets
You're
over
next.
$400, which I ended up doing it because I got a letter saying, do this, do this, do this. And I got the impression that it'd all be forgotten about. The money that I was supposed to pay. Then the mayor says, no, we already paid him half this money. Well, why would you pay somebody half the money that only did 10 minutes bloody work?
I don't think I said that, but I did
Well,
say that
that's
it
what I
was,
go- that's
no,
what
it
it
was
said
dealt
in the
with
letter.
by our bylaw and our corporate officer. That's what, and has that been paid? A bill like that has been paid, Mr. Zackel?
That bill was put onto the property taxes as tax arrears.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Campbell, did you have a?
Thank you. As far as what's happened in the past with the $400, it's a situation that was created by negligence of the property. And when the town has to take measures to bring a company in to do it, at that point you lose the right to decide in what order that happens. It would seem to me that you had the opportunity to deal with the property yourself before we got to that point. But here we are again today looking at photos of a property that's absolutely unsightly. You've been given plenty of time and opportunity to deal with it, and you chose to come here today and discuss the $400 from a year ago. So unless I'm hearing something of what your intentions are to deal with the property, I think we need to just deal with our decision.
We thank you for coming and talking to us about that, but we need to deal with what's on today, and we have some options here. And I think that that we will deal with this in the best way that we can deal with, like we do with other unsightly properties.
Well, all I want, before you do anything about this farce, I want 2 weeks' notice before you do anything so I can get a hold of a lawyer.
And I believe you've been given 3 weeks to have this done by. So you have until June the 5th.
I want it in writing.
It
You're
will
going to
be
do something in a certain time, and I want 2 weeks' notice of that.
We're giving you notice today, if we do this, that you will have until June the 5th to actually do the cleanup, or if if you happen to get a lawyer who says you don't have to, then we need a letter to that effect from your lawyer. Okay? Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mayor McCarles. So I'm prepared to make a motion based on option number 1 with the wording the way it is.
I'll second that motion.
If you want, I'll read it out.
Go ahead, read it out
Okay.
so Mr. Crowley can hear.
Please.
So option number one is that the property owner of 8308 70th Avenue, Lot 11, Plan 3085 DL 2450, S be advised that council deems this property to be unsightly pursuant to the Good Neighbor Bylaw number 1277 of 2011, and amendments thereto, and that the property owner be ordered to clear the property as follows: by removing all discarded asphalt roof shingles from the property, by removing all other discarded items including old benches and barrels, all wood planks, boards, sheets, and other lumber upon the property to be piled neatly along the property and securely covered with a tarp, and that all overgrown brush, grass, and landscaping to be cleared and removed from the property, and the 3 unlicensed and derelict vans, specifically the gray Chevrolet van, the brown Chevrolet camper van, and the burgundy van, to be removed from the property. And further, that the property owner be advised that should he not comply with this order by, and I would like to change that date to the 2 weeks request, so it would be a shorter length of time. And regrettably, I do not have a calendar to give you the date.
It's either
in the
May
motion.
30th or 31st. 15, it's the 30th?
So it'd be the 30th, or 29th.
Is it May the 29th, in 2 weeks on a Monday?
And now we'll acknowledge the property owner's request of 2 weeks to do that. And council will, by its workers and others, at all reasonable times and in a reasonable manner, enter onto the property and clear it as required at the property owner's expense. The cost shall be consistent of all costs and expenses incurred by the town to achieve compliance with the bylaws, and will include administrative costs, contractor costs, and the cost of removal, cleanup, and disposal of the materials. And further, that if the vehicles are not removed from the property by the property owner, that they be sold for scrap metal, with the proceeds of the sale being put towards the cost of the cleanup of the property. And finally, and further, that the property owner be advised that should the cost of the cleanup not be paid by December 31st, 2017, that the cost will be added to the property taxes as taxes in arrears.
Thank you. So that motion was moved and seconded with the change of date in there from June 5th to May the 29th. And all in favor? Thank you. That was carried unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Crowley. You certainly have 2 weeks to get us a letter from your lawyer if you would like to. Okay? Ms. Van Vienen?
Just as a matter of proper process requires us to send this notice to Mr. Crowley in writing.
This is a bloody number one.
So, excuse me, this means this letter needs to be sent to Mr. Crowley?
Yes, he will be getting a formal letter with
this resolution?
That's correct,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you very much. Does that, that's a matter of course, you don't need us for that?
You don't need
Okay.
that, no, that's the proper process.
Thank you very much. So we are going to go back to we're going to go back to water matters now, which is where are we? What page is that on?
19 to 26.
Thank you. I'm skipping all over the place here.
Just call her Yoda.
So we have water to report on expenditures from accounts payable for water councilors and council approval. Water district cash requirements to May the 15th, 2017 are in the amount of $20,886.52 for council approval. And the options are to approve water district cash requirements or to not approve them.
I move.
You're moving, and second by Councillor Campbell. All in favor? Thank you very much. Next is the Okanagan Basin Water Board highlights. And I was at this meeting, in Kelowna last week. There is, as you can see here, there is the mussel. The zebra quagga mussels is a huge issue, and it's going to be taken to FCM in Victoria. And I'd just maybe like to say at this time, too, that there seems to be a great deal of concern about water levels, and not necessarily water quality right now, but water levels in our lake have been rising. They're also rising in Okanagan Lake and all of the other lakes up the valley. I think we've been rather fortunate to have not had the severe weather this weekend that was predicted. And also the cooler weather has slowed things down a little bit. And as a matter of fact, the lake level has gone down. Now it's a minuscule amount, but it has gone down a little bit. And Miss Van Vienen tells me that the Similkameen River has also stabilized a little bit. It's not quite as...
It has, but it's still, everybody that's put sandbags out should keep them in place, because we are going to get some warm weather next week, and that is going to bring the snowpack down. So we need to just keep them in place for now, just as a precautionary measure.
And the town does have lots and lots of bags. And I checked with Mr. Dinwiddie. I think there's some more sand has been brought in by the province. It's over across from Dairy Queen. So anybody who has lakeshore property and feels that they would like to do some sandbagging is welcome to come and get the free sandbags and the sand. We don't normally have a sort of a return to what we call normal in terms of the water until in June. So we could really have another month of being very, very cautious about what we deal with. So if you see somebody who needs help them. And please don't take any of your sandbags away. Leave them out, as Miss Van Vienen said. Okay? So the other thing that was on there was Okanagan's sustainable water strategy is going to be updated, water management practices, and with the goal of helping increasing water demands for a growing population. So that's under adoption of the BC's new Water Sustainability Act. So there's still lots and lots of people talking about water issues, and I think that'll be going on for a while. So we need to receive this as correspondence. Good. Do we need a motion? Thank you. Councillor Rhodes, Councillor Youngberg. And next on our list is the 5-year financial plan. Mr. Zackel.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. So before Council's 5-year financial plan bylaw 1329-2017, this has received first 3 readings at the May 1st, 2017 meeting. We've had some highlights are the 3.9% increase to property taxes, which is amounts to a 0.43% increase in grant and aid funding, a 1.56% offset to increase net operating costs, a 1.91% increase to police reserve fund. In addition, with the town of Osoyoos going over 5,000, the town is now paying policing costs at a rate of 70% due to the last census. The estimated annual RCMP cost is $953,407, which the town becomes responsible as of April 1st of this year. So for 2017, we pay 75% of that, which is $715,055. This is an increase of $367,566 from 2016. In addition, debt payments for the fire hall will start in 2017 as the borrowing took place this spring. So we'll have one full interest payment that'll take place. And this is also jointly funded between the town of Osoyoos, the Osoyoos Rural Fire Protection District, and the Osoyoos Indian Band. Our garbage and recycling fees are increasing to $130.10. The sewer rates are increasing to $241.44. The water rates have increased to $335.54. We've got transfers to reserve funds of our marina, $11,500, which is funded from marina lease revenues. Fire department equipment, $28,070, which is a joint reserve fund. Museum land restoration of $10,000. RCMP reserve fund of $76,421. Waste recycling initiatives, $10,000. Water meter reserve fund, $125,000. The cost to the average single-family residence with an assessment of $352,862 in 2017 will see an increase of $138.45 to their property tax bill for taxes, water, and sewer user fees. So before council considers adoption, historically we've given the public the opportunity to speak and provide comment to the financial plan.
Absolutely. And did you wish to say something first?
No, I was going to move to allow the public to provide input.
Oh, we need to make that motion first?
Do we need to do that? No, I don't think.
No,
I don't think
okay.
you need to.
Thank you. So, is there anyone in the public who would like to? Mr. Marcelli, please come up to the microphone. Mr. Marcelli, as in another public hearing, we will allow you 5 minutes to make your presentation to council. Is that okay? Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor and the Court of Councillors, ladies and gentlemen. Just very brief and simple. We just mentioned now $715,055 for RCMP, which is okay. I'm all for it, worth every penny. They deserve it, our support. And just going back, in media, councillors made some comments, kind of scaring taxpayers, how expensive it's going to be because we are going to be full shot or 75%. But just going back, if we can afford $796,901.06 to give money to Destination Osoyoos in 1 year, we can afford that. Now, what I was suggesting is the grants, you have a chance before you adopt to knock off $163,000 from Destination Osoyoos. Speaking about that, they are receiving 2% tax as of last year, $422,601, and $163,000 as a grant, over $585,000. And this year, as they are going to have a 3% hotel tax, total will be additional $211,300. In my view, they can afford with less than $500,000 to deal because they are in tourism. Thanking to our chief, Clarence Lee, and also his Indian band, they are giving us $1 million worth of advertising, and we don't have to pay for it. And then as well some clubs, just top of my head came by, a sailing club, they can afford. They are there for recreation, let them pay, please. We are overtaxed. And the worst thing is number 3. We are just, I wrote a letter, you have it all together there, regarding the consultants and other stuff from Kamloops. This year is going to cost us $1,438,006. Just engineering, consulting, and contingencies. Now, between contingencies, we will never recover. Mayor McCarthy. Now, I always suggested before we should have in payroll civil engineer. Now it's too late for this year. Next year is going to be more money. We cannot afford. And then, meanwhile, for the record again, we have 3 municipal planners in town of Osoyoos payroll. 3 municipal qualified planners, and still we are paying consultants and others. Well, I think it was a very short and brief. I was expecting a little bit more. As I gave in the letter, I was going to speak on behalf of Mr. and Mrs. Allen, but I can obey the rules.
And we thank you, and I thank you very much for keeping it short and sweet. Are there anybody like to make a comment?
Sure. So a couple of questions for Mr.
Councillor
Marcelli.
Campbell.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. So you mentioned that, you stated quite clearly that we're overtaxed. That's in comparison to what or whom? Like when you say we're overtaxed in Osoyoos, what's that in comparison to?
Mayor McCordoff, through to Councillor Campbell. If you take a generally for everything we are paying, we, the taxpayer of this town, we don't know. Most of them, they don't know inside. As you are aware, every month I get financial statements. I'm speaking with proof from town books. And if you go each line, you will be seeing, because you said 2%, like it was 1.1, now it's 1.9 for instance, RCMP. Like I said, worth every penny. But if you go overall, you'll see it, because I can tell it by your books, in this case, Town of Osoyoos books.
Okay.
How can town justify to spend 1.5 million just consultants and
I'm
that's tax?
I'm not sure where you got that figure from, but
I'll get to this. I'll get to the civil engineers in a moment.
If I can, Madam Mayor McCordoff, those amount, as I was going to mention it, if you allow me, it'll just take less than a minute, if it's possible.
I don't think we have the same figures as you do, but I think there
respectfully, Mayor McCordoff, here I use, if you go all the pages,
yes,
from page 91 till page 225, 228, it comes total amount for every project we are paying for it. And that's how it came.
yeah.
This is not made up story. It's from your books.
Not a problem. We do have to pay for engineering services, and when we have a project, for sure.
So,
now, Councillor Campbell has something.
Yeah, a couple more things. I just wanted to correct the record on one thing when discussing Destination Osoyoos. There's no 3%. So that additional money that you stated, the $211,000, doesn't exist. It's at 2%. That the hotels are collecting and submitting to the provincial government, which then comes back to Destination Osoyoos. So that figure is incorrect. When we're talking about civil engineers, I'm not sure if you're aware of the amount of different disciplines involved for the different types of projects that a municipality has to deal with. When you're dealing with an engineering firm, you have all those disciplines at your disposal. By hiring a civil engineer, they would have to be able to balance that by understanding every single one of those different engineering disciplines to be able to deal with all the different types of projects that a municipality is faced with. Am I correct?
Yes.
That is correct. We'd also have to have technicians to support them and such things as CAD drawing and so forth. Typically, engineers wouldn't be doing that themselves. They're very dependent on support staff, usually to a ratio of 1 professional to 1.5 support staff.
So I think we've been through this part before, Mr. Marcelli, with engineers. In a small town, you cannot hire an engineer who is in one discipline and expect that they will cover civil engineers, structural engineers, all of those. So we have dealt with this. We have a very good public works gentleman who knows all of Mr. Dinwiddie. He knows where to get the best information, and he brings that forward for council to look at. So, Mr. Romenko.
Thank you. Mr. Marcelli, you obviously have some figures there, and if you wouldn't mind leaving them at the front counter relative to how you've compiled this $1.5 million engineering and consultant tab, I'd be more than willing to go over it. And my sense is that you're mixing a contingency is not a charge. It's just an extra amount of money. It's identified in the course of the project. It's not an engineering charge. So I'd be curious to review your figures and see where you get that amount from, because quite frankly, we don't spend anywhere near that amount of money on engineering fees.
No.
If you allow me,
Could you leave me at the front desk? Or
yes. I would like to respond.
Very briefly, Mr. Marcelli, because we've already had 10 minutes, and so it might be better if you left a copy of that, or we could make a copy of your...
I will leave a copy, but the thing is, the figures are from town of Osoyoos.
Yes.
And what true consultant company, what does is gives 10 years away, babysat blueprints, work on the plans. They are excellent engineering company. I'm not questioning their, but the thing is, if we had civil engineer, they could read the blueprints.
Well, you know what? I don't think this is the time for us to argue about what engineers do and what they don't do. So I do appreciate the fact that you would leave that with us, and we can certainly, Mr. Romanko has said he would certainly go through it, and perhaps a better explanation would be, but I think that there may be some confusion there. So if nobody else has any questions or concerns? No. So thank you, Mr. Marcelli, for doing a lot of homework that not many people would take the time to do. So we appreciate that you have an interest and that you have taken this time to respond.
As a council watchdog, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good afternoon.
Okay, thank you very much. So my assumption now is that we go through the four options. Mr. Zackel?
That is correct.
Okay. So are you going to do that, or?
Well, so basically, options before council. We've given the opportunity for the public to speak. If there's anybody else in the public, you can bring them forward.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's option 2 for council to adopt 5-year financial plan 13/29/2017, or option number 3 for council to rescind third reading and make additional changes to the 5-year financial plan and reread for a third time.
Okay, so we need a motion. Councillor.
Thank you.
Campbell.
I move for council to adopt the 5-year financial plan bylaw 13/29/2017.
Thank you, and that's been seconded. Anybody want to comment on that? All in favor? Thank you very much. And next is the Osoyoos tax rates. Mr. Zackel.
Thank you. So the next item, 2017 Osoyoos tax rates bylaw. This also received first 3 readings on May 1st. So like we said earlier, it relates to a 3.9% increase in property taxes. So the budget for municipal portions of tax requisitions are municipal, $2,421,216. General debt, $34,800. Fire protection, $229,418. Fire hall debt, $55,050. Policing, $715,055. Town of Osoyoos is also responsible for collecting and remitting taxes for other taxing jurisdictions, which includes a school of $3,651,483, hospital, $508,569, regional district of Okanagan-Smilkameen, $708,241, Okanagan Regional Library, $249,578, BC Assessment Authority, $78,753, Municipal Finance Authority, $330. So the average assessment for single-family residents, they will pay for their municipal portion of taxes $781.30. For an average assessment for business and other, which is Class 6, they would pay $1,242.12 for the municipal portion of taxes. Tax rates bylaw must be adopted by May 15th as per Section 197.1 of the Community Charter. Under implications community, continued operation and enhancement of the municipality. Organizational, no changes. Budget, Osoyoos tax rates bylaw is in line with the 5-year financial plan bylaw. Significant dates, tax rates bylaw needs to be adopted no later than May 15th. Sustainability, working to ensure maintaining levels of services for the community and financial sustainability for the town. Options before council to adopt Osoyoos tax rates bylaw 1330, 2017. Option 2, to rescind third reading and make changes as reflected in the financial plan amendments. Option 3, to delay adoption. So the recommendation before council is option number 1. The tax rates bylaw is in line with the 5-year financial plan bylaw and needs to be adopted no later than May 15th as legislated by the community charter.
Thank you, and that's today.
That is today.
Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mayor McAuliffe. I'll move option number 1 to adopt Osoyoos tax rates bylaw 1330, of 2017.
And so that was Councillor Rhodes and Councillor Youngberg. Thank you. Anybody need to? No, I think we've gone through this a few times, so we understand. All in favor? Thank you very much. And next is special events policy. Mrs. Dynison.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. So, staff is in the process of updating the special events policy. The updates to the policy require amendments to Bylaw 1269. Thanks. Administrative fees and charges, which is Resolution 1, and Bylaw 1180, recreation fees and charges, Resolution 2. Changes to the special event application policy include the addition of fees to the special event application form. As most other communities charge groups and individuals for the use of their green space in addition to a damage deposit, it would be prudent for the town of Osoyoos to begin charging similar fees. Fees should be charged based on the nature of the event and the type of group or individual applying for park use. The fees will help cover the staff time required to process the special event application, deliver and pick up municipal equipment, and provide extra washroom cleanings. In addition, the fees will help cover costs should green space or municipal equipment get damaged or lost as a direct result of an event. The proposed fees were developed based on the charges used by surrounding communities. The amendments to the bylaws are as listed. Bylaw 1269, administrative fees and charges. Add a non-refundable administrative fee of $25 plus tax for any person submitting a special event application or park use permit application. Add a fee of $44.50 plus tax per occurrence for additional washroom cleaning for private and commercial events, and a no-charge fee for nonprofit groups as currently defined by Bylaw 1180. For Bylaw 1180, recreation fees and charges, add a no charge for table, chair, and bleacher rental for nonprofit groups as currently defined by the bylaw. Add park use fees to all outdoor space not already identified in Bylaw 1180 as follows. Birthday party for children under 25 people would be free. Birthday party for a child over 25 people, $25 per hour. Birthday party for youth or adult, $25 per hour. And private events would be $25 per hour. Commercial events, $64 per hour, and other events, nonprofit, would be free. Implications: community, increased fees and charges to use park space. Organizational, staff will be required to update the two bylaws being affected. Budget, increased revenues from fees and charges. And there are no significant dates or sustainability. So your options is Resolution 1, Option 1, for Council to read the amendment Bylaw 1269, administrative fees and charges, a first, second, and third time. Resolution 1, Option 2, for Council not to read the amendment Bylaw 1269, administrative fees and charges, a first, second, and third time. Resolution 2, Option 1, for Council to read the amendment Bylaw 1180, recreation fees and charges, a first, second, and third time. And Resolution 2, Option 2, for Council to read the amendment Bylaw 1180, recreation fees and charges, a first, second, and third time. Recommendation is Resolution 1, Option 1, for Council to read the amendment Bylaw 1269, administrative fees and charges, a first, second, and third time. And Resolution 2, Option 1, for Council to read the amendment Bylaw 1180, recreation fees and charges, a first, second, and third time.
Thank you very much. That's very confusing.
It is.
I have one question. Bylaw 1269, administrative fees and charges. It says add a non-refundable administrative fee of $25 plus tax for any person submitting a special event application or park use permit.
Yes.
That is for you're not including like Cherry Fiesta nonprofit groups.
There was no allowance made for nonprofit groups. So if council wanted to add that in, we could at this time.
I would think that this would be for, the $25 would certainly be for somebody who wanted to use the park, but I'm thinking that such as, I'm not sure what you do about, like July 1st, what about music in the park, some of those things, is that they're all, according to this, we would be...
According to this, they would all be charged
$25.
Yeah, application fee.
I think non-profit community groups that do things for the community should not be charged that. That's my thinking.
We can add that in, I think.
Is there anybody? Yeah, CJ?
Thank you, Mayor McCarthy. So I'll move, we're going to do two different resolutions, I'm assuming.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, I'll move resolution one, option one, with that change. As amended, yeah. Okay.
With the change of the $25
Yeah.
taken out for non-profit groups.
And I'm kind of struggling here because I'm not sure how to word that into the resolution, but...
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brianne looks confident.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's got it figured out.
That's
Is
where I
there
looked,
a
was over
seconder
there.
for that? Are you? And Councillor Campbell is seconding that. And the other part of it is okay. So all in favor of that? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So now we're going to go to recreational ones, recreational fees and charges. Is there somebody who'd like to make a motion on that? You go ahead with, are you option one? Option one, are you talking about? And Councillor Rhodes, are you seconding that? Anybody like to speak to that one? Oh, did you? Sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. Just to clarify, under Bylaw 1180, where it says commercial event, as will be defined in the special event policy. So we're going to go back to 1189, or sorry, 1269, and clarify that commercial event is excluding nonprofit societies?
That's correct.
Okay.
So a commercial event, as defined by our special event policy, which is also defined similarly in our bylaw 1180.
Okay.
Yeah, so any nonprofit group that is doing an event to raise money for their group, which is not deemed a commercial event.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, so
Sure.
are we okay with that one? All in favor of that? Thank you very much. That's carried.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for for looking at all those bits and pieces and fixing that up for us.
Good job, sir.
Yeah, thanks, sir. Next is the official community plan amendment regional context statement.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Cunningham.
On January 5, 2017, the RDS Regional Board approved an amended version of the South Okanagan Regional Growth Strategy, RGS, which in turn requires Osoyoos to amend the Regional Context Statement, RCS, in our OCP, showing how it supports the RGS. On February 6, 2017, Council gave first and second readings to the attached copy of our OCP Amendment Bylaw number 1230.19-17. Council gave third reading on March 6, and staff submitted our RCS to the following day for acceptance by the RDS Board. The Board gave their acceptance on April 6, as confirmed in the attached letter of May 10th received last week. Council can now proceed to final bylaw adoption. The original South Ogan RGS was adopted by the RDS Board on April 1st, 2010. All regional district bylaws and services must be, quote, consistent with an RGS after adoption, whereas member municipalities have to meet the less demanding standard of submitting, quote, a regional context statement for regional board approval, which is, quote, consistent with the rest of their OCP, demonstrates the relationships between the OCP and the RGS, and if applicable, lays out how their OCP will be made consistent with the RGS over time. The Local Government Act requires that an RGS be reviewed for possible amendment at least once every 5 years. The RDS board decided that only minor, quote, refinements were necessary at this time, as opposed to, quote, a major review, which would have required an intensive public consultation process. These refinements include updated population projections, organizational restructuring of the RDS for improved readability and ease of locating topics, and considerable editing of its policies to improve their clarity and consistencies and to remove redundancies. Consequent refinements needed to our regional context statement include reordering OCP policy references to match the new RGS structure and referencing new policies added to our OCP since original RGS adoption. Impacts: community. The town followed proper process by convening a public hearing before third reading, but no member of the public attended. Organizational. The Director of Planning and Development Services is a member of the technical committee that contributed to our original RGS and its ongoing implementation and participated in the project steering committee on its update. Sustainability. The intent of the RGS largely centered on promoting social, economic, and environmental sustainability. Option 1, Council approves final adoption, or Option 2, Council requires revisions. Recommendations. Staff recommends Option 1 and adopts OCP Amendment Bylaw number 1230.19, 217. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Cunningham. Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. I'll move the recommended option to adopt OCP Amendment Bylaw number 1230.19 of 2017.
Thank you. And that's seconded. Councillor Youngberg. I think we've been through this a few times, so this would be nice to have it finally adopted. Okay, all in favor? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next is our business plan, and that would be Mr. Emenko.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. Annually, the town of Osoyoos business plan is updated to maintain a 3-year operating window and strategic vision. The business plan, I'll just run through some points here about what the business plan is all about. The business plan provides an overall vision, mission, and goals based on 9 key result areas for the organization. Provides an outline of administrative process to engage public, staff, and council in business planning, and I should also mention budgeting and community priorities. Identifies key priorities, continually updated as developed. Provides a 4-year rolling plan for directions, projects, priorities, and investments. Includes the core service activities, discretionary services approved by council, and special projects that achieve goals in the key result areas. It's developed through individual and joint strategic sessions with public, council, and directors. Ideally, the business plan takes direction from other strategic plans, such as the Integrated Community Sustainability Plan, the Official Community Plan, 5-year Capital Operational Plan, Community Sustainability Plan, I lost my line there, Financial Plan, Objectives and Policies, and any other planning documents. Projects and activities are identified with a targeted date for completion based on best guess amount of time to complete. However, all projects are subject to uncontrollable factors, changing priorities, new directions, and new opportunities. The plan is approved by council with the understanding that these projects will move ahead based on capacity of individuals and departments, the allocation of resources, and the administration's ability to respond. New items to be added must go through approval of council to recognize the reallocation of resources. Business plan identifies the financial resources committed from the budgeting process. The CAO and the directors will provide council with quarterly updates on projects. Although roles are different, many projects require administration and council working together with their respective roles to achieve success. The business plan is approved by council prior to the budget usually, but this time it didn't fall in that way. In terms of implications, the community has a very transparent 4-year public operating plan that assists in providing the town operating transparency. It's also transparent in that it is on our website, so anybody can go into the business plan and take a look at what we plan to do. Organizationally, the business plan assists in informing public and all staff about the work that we are undertaking and planning to undertake. Each director will base their work plans on this document. The budget is formulated from activities identified in the budget in the business plan. And sustainability, the business plan takes direction from the integrated community sustainability plan. 3 options are presented to Council. 1, Council passes a resolution accepting the 2017-20 business plan as presented. 2, Council passes a resolution accepting the 2017-20 business plan with noted changes. And 3, Council passes a resolution not to accept the business plan. The administration recommends option number 1. Having a business plan increases public transparency and assists with the overall organization's effectiveness and efficiency.
Thank you very much. Council, anybody like to? Thank you. Councillor Rhodes.
I will move option number 1. Council passes a resolution accepting the 2017-20 business plan as presented.
Thank you. Councillor Campbell seconded that. Thank you. We have had some meetings, so we already understand this pretty well, I think. So, anybody? Yes, Councillor Rhodes, go ahead.
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Romanko and all of the staff that were involved in updating this document. I have memories going back to 2008 of not having a business plan, and things are much easier, much simpler. And once you get to understand it, it's a working document and really provides a lot of guidance. One of the things that I would like to maybe just echo one of Mr. Romanko's comments is one of the most frequent questions I get asked is, when are you going to fix my water problems? When is my street going to get paved? And everybody wants to know the precise date. This document contains all of that information. And I feel quite comfortable in saying 100% of all of our projects will be listed in there with anticipated start dates and finish dates and that type of thing. So go online, go to the town website, have a look. It's a great document, and it outlines almost every work project in our community.
Good. Thank you. Well said, Councillor Rhodes. So we have a motion on the table to accept option number 1. All in favor? Thank you very much. And next is the Mayor and Council meeting reports. There were, I think we're going to, do we have to do them individually? Do they have to be? Okay, I think we're going to ask Councillor Rhodes to make this motion, seeing as the other 3 of us are included in there. Would you like to?
Well, once again, somebody had to stay behind and look after the town.
And we appreciate it.
I will move that Mayor and Council meeting reports for the 3 councillors as outlined in the reports be accepted for.
Thank you. You'll have to second it. Thank you very much. All in favor? That was when we were at Silga, which was up at Sun Peaks. Next is the Victim Services Program. Ms. Van Vienen.
Thank you. The town has administered the Victim Services Program on behalf of the province for many years. Through the past few renewals, Council has expressed concern regarding the amount of funding that has been received from the province for the program. At the regular open meeting of Council held on January 18, 2016, Council passed the following resolutions. Moved by Councillor Campbell, seconded by Councillor King, that the Mayor and Corporate Officer be authorized to sign the 2016-17 Victim Services Program funding application for Osoyoos for a 16-month term, and that the province be advised that the town will no longer be interested in administering the program after July 31, 2017, and that the RDOS be approached to take the administration of the contract or to pay an administration fee for this contract. And another resolution moved by Councillor Campbell, seconded by Councillor King, that administration be directed to write the partners in the Victim Services Agreement to determine their interest to discuss the future program services and funding levels. A letter was written from the Mayor to the Victim Services and Crime Prevention Division with copy to the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Suzanne Anton, on January 19, 2016, and a copy was attached to the report. expressing council's concern and advising that if the province did not provide further funding for this program and continued with the expectation that the town should subsidize a program that is a benefit to not only the town of Osoyoos but to other jurisdictions, then the town would reluctantly withdraw its services to administer the program. The town approached the RDOS asking whether they would take over the administration of the program. The board resolved to contribute financially to the program in Osoyoos, but did not wish to provide administration of the program. The RDOS followed through the public assent for the Victim Services Contributions Services Bylaw and has set aside up to $5,000 for administration fees for the Osoyoos program in the 2017 budget. In February 2017, staff received a funding application form for the Victim Services Program. Staff questioned the ministry as to the dates on the contract as they did not match the current contract dates. The ministry responded to advise us to disregard the application for funding as there was no further funding being provided and therefore they were accepting Council's letter resolution to withdraw from the administration of the program. The ministry then advised that they had a community group that may be interested in taking this on. This information was brought to the attention of Sergeant Beta as he is the direct supervisor of the program. He felt it was most unfortunate that the program may be moved to a different administrator and that he had not been consulted with by the province before proceeding. On May 5, 2017, staff received another call from the ministry asking if we were still interested in administering the program. They have some other leads as to community groups that may be interested in taking on the administration of the program and asked if this is something that council would consider once again as well without further funding being available from the province. With the additional funding coming from the RDOS for the administration of the program, this matter is being brought forward for council decision as to whether to put the town of Osoyoos forward again being interested in the administration of the Victim Services Program, or whether the province's refusal to provide more funding to the program means the town opts out indefinitely. For the community, a provision of the victim services to victims of crime, organizationally, staff time to administer the contract, including budgeting, payroll, etc. Budget in-kind service of approximately $3,500. Significant dates, the current contract ends July 31st. However, I'm going to address this right after my report. I have some new information on that. Sustainability, continuation of a program that is beneficial to the citizens of Osoyoos. So since I wrote this report, I'd been in contact again with the ministry, and they advised me that, first off, this contract is a modification agreement. So what we had originally entered into in 2016-2017 was a 16-month contract that ran from April 1st, 2016 to July 31st, 2017. And that was based on a procurement initiative that the province was going to take that didn't follow through. So now they want to go back to a fiscal contract, which would go April 1st to March 31st. So the modification agreement would then take us back to going backwards and signing this agreement from April 1st, 2017 to March 31st, 2018. And then the agreement that we signed separately went to July 31st. So either or, it would only be a matter of a few more months. The one glitch that we came into contact with over the discussions was they wanted us to have a new budget prepared by this Wednesday. And I had advised them that that was not going to be able to be attained by staff, and that if we had till the 24th, May 24th, to get that done, we would. They would like the modification agreement approved by council at this meeting and signed and sent to them by May 17th. So that would be the difference in the significant dates than what was in this report. So the options being presented are that the province be advised that the town is interested in administering the Victim Services Program for Osoyoos for 2017-18, but that the commitment is year to year and will be evaluated again at the next renewal date, which would be before March 31st, 2018, and that the signatories be authorized to sign the modification agreement. Or two, that the province be advised that the town is not interested in administering the Victim Services Program for Osoyoos for 2017-18, but that if they are unable to find a community group to take over the services, that they contact the town again for reconsideration. Or three, that the province be advised that the town is not interested in administering the Victim Services Program. The recommendation is option 1. Since the province does not appear to have a definite affirmative from a community group to administer the program as of the date of this report, and due to the timing of the funding applications and notices to be given to the program manager, it would be in the best interest of the town to continue administering the program for the remainder of the term right to March 31st, 2018, with the town now responsible for policing and this program falling under the police portfolio. It may be in the best interest to have discussions with Sergeant Beta as to the future administration of the program before council makes the final decision.
Thank you very much. That's kind of confusing, isn't it? The whole
It is.
thing. It goes day to day, but the RDOS funding does help, doesn't
Yes.
it? Yeah, and that's something new?
That is something
Yeah.
new, yes.
Okay. So, Councillor Rhodes?
Thank you, Member Kordoff. So we received the document just at the beginning of the meeting, had a chance to briefly look through it. Would you anticipate any changes to it or any, areas that might need to be talked about in the future? Or?
No, what they're doing here is they're going back to the fiscal year, and so now I have to prepare the budget for going back to from April 1st to March 31st, where the last budget was 16 months. So we'll rework that, and I'll sit down with Sergeant Beta and the Victim Services Program Manager to do that. But that's all that this is asking for, and then it's the payment dates of when we have to have our reports into them, when the program manager has to have her reports into them, and then when they will send us the payment for each quarter.
If I could?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I think you're aware of some of the feelings that I have about these kind of things. Are we doing this because we want to, or are we doing it because we have to?
It's the latter of the two by the sounds of it.
It seems to me that it's a good program, and I'd hate to lose it. So that's what I would start with. But go ahead.
Yeah, I would say that right now, if council does not take on the administration of this program, then the province is going to have to look for a community group that will take on the administration of the program.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I'll move option 1 then.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Okay. Did you get that, Mrs. Hilson? Okay. Anybody need to? Okay. All in favor? Thank you very much. So where are we now? Rural dividend. And is that Mr. Romanko? Rural
Yes.
dividend grant application.
The task of revitalizing our downtown has been discussed for many years. In 2017, Council approved $50,000 to hire a consultant to assist Destination Osoyoos and town planning staff to work with local businesses to create a downtown revitalization plan. The Rural Dividend Fund provides grants for projects of this nature. One of the criteria is a resolution from Council supporting the application for the grant funding. This report is to request Council provide a motion supporting a grant application in the amount of $10,000. This is the maximum amount allowed under the project development category. A request for proposals will be developed to seek out a consultant. In terms of implications, the community will benefit from all stakeholders working together to revitalize the physical features of our downtown and build relationships that will assist with business retention and attraction. Organizationally, Planning Department will be heavily involved along with Destination Osoyoos. The budget council approves $50,000, and the additional funding will be a definite asset. Significant dates: application must be submitted prior to May 31st, 2017. Two options are presented for council. Council approves a motion to support the administration submitting a project development grant application in the amount of $10,000 to the BC Rural Dividend Program to assist with the funding of a downtown revitalization plan. 2, council denies the administration request to submit a project development grant application in the amount of $10,000 to the BC Rural Development Program to assist with the funding of a downtown revitalization plan. Administration recommends option 1. The additional funding will assist with project funding.
Thank you. Anybody like to comment on this?
No, I'll move option
You
1.
moving option 1?
Yep.
Thank you. All in favor? Sounds like a no-brainer to me. We'd apply for this, so good, thank you. That was carried. And next is the marina repairs. That would be Mr. Romanko.
Yes. The town and Osoyoos Shoreline Developments, OSD, Watermark Resort, cost share the development of the marina with a 50-50 ownership of splits and maintenance costs. This spring, significant ice damage occurred to the slips in the marina, with 75% of the damage occurring to the Osoyoos Shoreline Development slips. Listed below is the article from the joint agreement that relates to maintenance and repairs that basically states that repairs beyond ordinary wear and tear were responsibility of the owner party. There's nothing in the agreement that relates to cost-sharing acts of God damage to the marina. Initial repairs have been completed to enable the marina to be functional and for the season. In the fall, additional repairs will be completed. Staff initially were under the impression that this would be a 50-50 cost share. However, when a review of the agreement occurred, this Article 14 of the agreement was the only article that related to this situation. Therefore, costs were attributed according to the agreement. The Osoyoos Shoreline Development is requesting that the current repairs be cost-shared 50-50, and the agreement be amended to reflect a 50-50 cost share in future acts of God damage. In terms of community, the community entered into a 50-50 partnership with OSD on the development and maintenance of the marina, and the facility has been an asset to both parties. Organizationally, staff time will be needed to amend the agreement. Budget funds are available from the Marina Reserve account. Significant date issue needs to be resolved as soon as possible. 3 options are presented to Council. Council accepts the Osoyoos Shoreline Development request to 50-50 cost share the current damage to the marina and change the agreement to reflect the 50-50 cost share on act of God damages. 2, Council denies the Osoyoos Shoreline Development request to 50-50 cost share the current damages to the marina and change the agreement to reflect a 50-50 cost share on act of God damages. Number 3, Council requests more information. Administration recommends option number 1. The basic premise to developing and operating the marina was a 50-50 cost share approach. Often agreements can't cover all situations, and this is one of those situations. Making a change to the agreement will provide staff with clear direction in future situations of this nature.
Thank you very much. Councillor Campbell?
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. Yeah, this is a unique scenario where it's of no negligence and nobody's fault when this type of damage happens. And I think that's why the inclination initially was that it was going to be a 50-50 cost share before we looked at specifically the language of the agreement. So I'd like to move option number 1 and then speak to it.
Absolutely. And are you seconding that? Councillor Rhodes and Councillor Campbell.
Thank you. If we're looking at making any type of investment into preventative maintenance or looking at preventing this moving forward, does that 50% rule still apply as far as how that investment's made?
Yes, there's sections in the agreement that relate to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will amendments have to be made there? Or
No.
That is at 50%?
No. We have to consult with Osoyoos Shoreline Developments on projects of that nature, but even if they say no, we can still proceed and charge them the 50%.
Okay, thank you.
So, were you asked?
Yep.
Yeah, I know you were asking that because we obviously need to make some changes this fall to prevent this from happening again, and that will be
Yes.
on a 50-50 basis.
Yes, and there's money been budgeted for that in this coming year.
Okay, thank you. So, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Thank you very much. Next is it's business number 7, right? Mrs. Hilson, I think I put down business number 6. Oh, okay, because we took out 3. All right, this would be the boat trailer parking for marina holders, and that was an addition that was put on earlier today. So, Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Staff presented this report at the Committee of the Whole meeting this morning and was directed to bring the regular meeting with Council this afternoon. A leaseholder at the Desert Sunrise Marina is requesting use of the boat trailer parking lot. He is currently on a wait list to get into a storage area, but currently has no place to store his trailer. He has a pontoon boat with more than 24 feet long and is requesting use of the boat trailer parking lot, and he is willing to pay a fair price for the long-term permit. In our current regulations, residents are not permitted to park in the boat trailer lot and are directed to find storage facility for long-term parking. In the height of the summer season, the lot is at times very full. Staff is not sure if the lot has ever reached capacity, and the boat trailer parking regulations are attached. Council is to determine if they will respond with a resolution to change the service level in the boat trailer parking for the requested purpose of temporary or long-term storage of marina leaseholders' trailer storage. Council would need to determine a fee and the length of storage period. The other options include maintaining the status quo and not allowing the use or providing the request to the one person who is making the request. Their current approved fees enable a visitor who is visiting a resident to store their trailer at a rate of $15.75 a week with a 14-day maximum. In terms of implications for the community, providing a storage facility for marina leaseholders who cannot find an alternative storage facility. Organizational. Staff time to provide the service would include collecting information, developing a fee for a new service, and collecting fees for that service. Significant dates. This request comes with an immediate time frame, ASAP, and sustainability, assisting at controlling boat trailer parking within town limits to a reasonable service level. In terms of options, option 1, status quo, do not allow this type of request for local people who have a lease at the marina. Option 2, allow short-term parking for local marina lease holders who are waiting for a storage facility, subject to a letter indicating they're on a wait list, subject to a council-approved fee and established time period. Option number 3, allow long-term parking for local marina leaseholders who are waiting for a storage facility, subject to a letter indicating they are on a wait list, subject to a council-approved fee and established time period. Option 4, allow parking for local marina leaseholders who are waiting for a storage facility, subject to a letter indicating they're on a wait list, only if space is available. If the lot becomes full, they will have to remove the trailer ASAP. Again, it would be subject to a council-approved fee and established time period. And option number 5, allow this request as a one-time only service provision, subject to space being available without interfering with visitor parking, subject to council-approved fee and established time period. And the recommendation would be option number 1, visitors who utilize our hotels and motels and pay the 2% tax may not be too happy if the service is not available due to lack of space. Local residents may have an easier time to store boat trailers than a visitor who is here for a short period of time. Therefore, if any type of change is approved, visitor parking should be available to visitors at all times.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Council, what would you like to do about this?
You know,
Councillor Campbell.
I won't lie. I wish we didn't have to deal with this period. But you know, as I stated in the committee of a whole meeting, you know that this storage area was put together with the RMI funding for a specific purpose, and I never like to make an exception, as reasonable as it sounds, because as reasonable as it is, it opens a door. I also feel that by opening that door and changing the way that this property is utilized creates more work for the town as far as policing those, how long things are there and when it fills up and things of that nature. As much as I'd really like to help out a resident in a request that doesn't seem very controversial, I struggle with changing the language of the service we're providing just to do that.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak to this? Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Member Kordoff. Option number 5 would, if you could just maybe help us work through this a little bit. Option number 5 would be a one-off thing. Would that require changing to policy and bylaws that we have in effect right now?
I wouldn't think if this was a one-time only, and again, that would be up to our CAO in terms of that direction, but if we were doing this as a one-time only, council approves that through resolution, then we go with that option. Again, we would have to be clear on how long we're doing it for and if there is any cost involved. But otherwise, that service provision would remain the same.
Is there any information? Do we have a letter? Did you have a conversation with the person that's requesting about how long this may be, or?
No.
There's no-
All we received was an email indicating that they're looking for a long-term permit.
So it could be a week, or it could be a year?
That's correct.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
if it's a long term, it sounds like it's for the season. That's what I would read into that. Mr. Romanko, could you comment on how this would?
Well, it's just been brought to my attention that this is a little more complex because our parking regulations for that particular lot are in our off-site street bylaw. So we would need to change our bylaw.
Of course we would.
Well, that's what we're concerned about. Is I think that's what you were mentioning, that it's more complicated than just allowing.
Just got bigger, but I guess my other question is, are we looking at doing this out of a matter of convenience? Do we know that this resident has exhausted every other option for storage? Is this a matter of convenience?
I would think so, yes.
It is a matter of convenience, not necessity.
Well, the information that I received basically indicated that they've tried to get storage, and it's next to impossible to get that, and they're on a wait list, and this was a request for them to do that. And that's it.
Okay. Councillor Rhodes.
Well, that was a curve that I wasn't expecting.
Me too. We nailed that one down pretty good in terms of when we talked, I guess, about what the use was going to be. That's why it went into bylaw, so that we were able to ticket people who are not supposed to be there. And in that bylaw, we're very specific to visitors.
So for clarity, I would think that we don't have any options.
No.
Other than a massive administration change to bylaws and policy.
Yeah, we would. Yeah, I don't know that it's not policy; it's bylaws. So we would have to do a bylaw revision based on whatever the council direction is.
And that could take some time, definitely 3 weeks.
Well, it would take 2 meetings.
And this is needed immediately, from what it sounds like.
I'd like to move option number 1, please.
Is there somebody going to second option number 1? I will. I'll second it.
As simple as this seems, it's not simple at all.
No.
We're going to be using administration time, and we're making an exception that has much broader ramifications in the long term. I'd like to think that between Oroville, Osoyoos, and Oliver, storage can be found on a temporary basis, rather than our municipality changing bylaws to accommodate a single request. I don't think is the best use of anybody's time. So that's my reasoning for option number 1.
Okay. Councillor Youngberg?
I'd just like to make one comment, and particularly to community services. I think that if this were to come back again, I'd certainly like a lot more information regarding, I realize it's changing policy and bylaws, and I think that's fairly extensive. And when we're put in a position to have to change a bylaw or policy, I'm hoping that we could get a copy of some supporting evidence. You know, it's important to know whether, as it's been brought to our attention from administration staff out front, there's been many requests from local people to park their trailers someplace. So maybe it's something that we should look at down the road. And if we have some supporting documentation, we can go ahead and do that. Because I am going to vote in favor of the recommendation, but I do have concerns about local people.
Mm-hmm. Certainly got it. Thank you. Anybody else? All right, so the motion is to go with option number 1, to leave it at status quo. All in favor? Thank you. Against? Did you want? Thank you. Thank you. That was carried. Next is the cash requirements, right? So cash requirements, general net payroll and Sun Bowl Arena financial accounts to report on expenditures from accounts payable for council approval, and general cash requirements of $257,335.89. Sunbowl cash requirements of $11,964.89, and net payroll. Those two, general cash and Sunbowl, would be for by consensus, and net payroll accounts of $74,342.03, and that is for information. Building report is the next one, and it looks that for the month of April we had $139,431. Some carports, swimming pools, plumbing, sun deck, and a construction wall. So the year to date is $3,129,791, and the total to date last year was $2,000,002. So that's almost $1 million more this year. So we're happy to see people out doing some things. And do we need to have a motion to accept that? Thank you. Councillor Rhodes Youngberg, all in favor? Lots of swimming pools.
Swimming pools too.
Well, they've got lots of water. They can fill them. Okay, and next is the bylaw report. And it's very nice that we have hours spent and number of files, and the same for last year. So there's a few more complaints this year, and administration, and some property concerns this year, but the total hours spent is 135 and 135 last year. So that must be our bylaw officer doing it. Very interesting to see illegal camping is one of the big ones. So I think that people have started to come to Osoyoos, even though we're really not offering Canada's warmest welcome right now. It's a little cooler, but they're here already. So is there anybody wanted to comment on anything here? We appreciate the fact that our bylaw officer gives us this information. And do we have another page? Yes, and parks enforcement. So dogs seems to be one, but not quite as much. I think it's probably because we have we just, Mr. Manco, had bylaw officers, was it the middle of or beginning of May that we had more than one? We had extra, we have several bylaw officers on staff right now.
Beginning of May, we start parks and scheduling of officers.
So you will not just see Mrs. Marshall out there, but there are several other bylaw officers out there as well right now, which we appreciate. And we need, sorry, did you have a question? Please go ahead.
No, I was going to
make the motion to receive this. Thank you. And do you need a seconder? Okay. Yep. Councillor Youngberg, all in favor. Thank you. And next is the Community Services Advisory Committee. And I don't see Councillor King is on this committee, but he is absent today. So I think, did you, pardon me?
Should we receive it as information?
Yeah, is there anybody that would talk to it, or no, we'll just receive it as information. Thank you. Did you need a seconder for that one too? Thank you, Councillor. Pick one of the others. Thank you. All in favor. And
it's easier to say that when she doesn't remember your name.
No, I do remember. I can see it because he's got it pointed my way.
Yeah, rotating.
Okay, next is the CAO report.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. Just a few of the activities of the administration the last couple of weeks, starting first in community services. The New Horizons for Seniors Grant Program is now accepting applications for senior-based projects. Its deadline is June 23rd, and we'll be making an application for the pickleball court construction with that to that grant program. The ice at the Sun Bowl Arena has been removed and shut down. Shutdown is now in place. We'll be doing overhauls of the compressors and some minor repairs. Work on the dressing rooms and figure skating room will be completed over the next month and ready for the arena opens in July. Staff is doing repairs and painting on the shelter at the skateboard park. All slips at the marina are now leased and fees have been collected. May 27th and 28th is Osoyoos Play Days. They've applied for a $1,000 grant from Participation 150 for the event, offering Try It weekend for participants to try different activities, including pickleball, paddling, lawn bowling, hiking. Participants can fill out a Try It passport and get entered in for a draw for a prize. Corporate services, boat trailer parking passes have now been distributed to motels, campgrounds and campsites within the town boundaries. Work on the annual report is underway with a targeted completion date of early June, and several bylaws have been consolidated on the website. They've been preparing for MTI tickets that went to court on May 12th, and I don't know what the results of those yet are. Unsightly properties are being followed through under the Good Neighbor Bylaw. Complaints again are being received about dog owners not picking up after their dogs. This is an infraction under the Animal Control Bylaw. There are doggy bags located throughout the town, and people are encouraged to use them. The director has participated in many conference calls through Emergency Management BC to receive information on weather forecast, river forecast, and flood information. In terms of planning and development, on May 2nd, the Waterfront Steering Committee had a successful startup meeting with Stephen Burns, project manager of CIMA. Along with staff, we'll be working on our Gyro Park Pier and Walkway consulting contract. This is to be completed no later than mid-September, and planning and development continues to receive considerable number of development inquiries. Public Works, pothole repairs throughout the community, mowing in all parks and Desert Park infield, installed a memorial bench in Gyro Park by the watermark, repaired pump 8A in Irrigation District 8. They have permanently sealed and decommissioned water well number 2 at Legion Beach, and have been doing some flood preparation, filling sandbags and keeping them at Public Works Yard in case we do need them. In terms of myself, completed and submitted the grant application to the Rural Dividend Program to assist with the Community Medical Center feasibility study, working on a grant application to the Rural Dividend for $10,000 to assist with downtown revitalization, reviewing progress on the Meadowlark subdivision and landscaping of Wren Place, attended the BC Assessment Open House and updated on assessment changes, and completed the business plan. And that's all I have to report for today.
Thank you very much. Could we have somebody move that we receive the report? Thank you. Councillor Rhodes and Youngberg, all in favor? Thank you. And now to councillor reports, and first is Councillor King, who is not here. He's at the Cloverdale Rodeo, so I hope he has better weather down there. Councillor Youngberg.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. Not much to report over this last couple of weeks, other than that we have been working to create a successful medieval event, and we've had a lot of success online with selling tickets. The feast is sold out, and we are raising money for everybody's information to improve Desert Park and to try and keep Desert Park as part of our community in a ongoing and continuing to improve that facility so it stays around for a little while. So we're hoping that everybody will find time to come up and view some of the events Saturday and Sunday. There's a village, there's a 24 vendors, and I think it's going to be a great time, and hope to see everybody there.
Thank you. Yeah, I hope that the weather's a little bit nicer.
Going to be 24.
Oh, okay. Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. Just to pick up on some of your earlier comments on the threat of flooding in our community. Fortunately, I think we're not totally unscathed, but we've been spared the the damage that can be that can occur from flooding and all of the other things that go along with that. And the important thing is that when you have flooding situations, particularly when they threaten people's homes and livelihood, if you notice that communities always come together, and so many of the things that go along with flooding are made a lot better by community involvement and people that volunteer to help out and fill sandbags and that kind of thing. And the threat is not over for us. And I understand that the lake level has gone down a bit, but certainly, as our Director of Corporate Services mentioned, snowpack is still a threat if we get a lot of warm weather over the next little while. At any time that anybody's threatened, I believe that, and I feel quite comfortable in mentioning that they can phone the town hall. They can phone me personally and request help and that kind of thing. And I think you'll see a community that will come together and certainly minimize any of the risk and damage that you may have to your property or anything else. So I would like to just offer that out and make sure that everybody is aware of it, and certainly look forward to anybody getting in touch with us if it does happen.
Thank you for that offer. Does that include the rest of us too? I imagine it does. Is he just speaking for himself? Okay, Councillor Campbell.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. Last week I moved for health with our mayor and 3 or 4 other people.
We took pictures to prove it.
Yeah, hopefully we can get more people out next year. It was a nice day for walks, so the weather was cooperating. Also attended the School District 53 school board meeting, and I'm looking forward to on the 27th leaving Osoyoos and heading toward Ottawa to celebrate Canada 150 and take part in the many activities that are happening there.
Good, thank you. So I was also at the that Move for Health Day. As a matter of fact, 3 out of the 6 people that were walked that day were council members. Plus, we had 2 people from the Sonora Center and 1 lady who just came out to walk with us, so that was good. So we thank Sarah Dynison for setting that up, and it was a nice day so we could walk. I was also walked in the hospice walk, which was not here in Osoyoos, it was in Oliver. So I'm doing my bit to keep fit and get out moving. Market on Main is back in operation on Saturday mornings, and it will be the grand opening, I believe, on this Saturday because this is the long weekend. So come out and get fresh bread and buns and jewelry and wine, and it's a great time. I think it's from 9 until 2. Used to be 8 till 1. They've changed the hours, 9 till 2. Now, so it's right outside here, outside Town Hall. So please come and support that. When Councillor Rhodes was talking about lake levels, I just want to point out that looking back at the past, say, 25 years, the lake level has been higher. So not that we wish that it would be, but it has been a little bit higher than it is right now, another foot higher. So we don't wish that on anybody, and we're hoping that this kind of weather will keep it slowly moving up or moving down as it has been today. And one more thing, this weekend, I know that the Ducks Unlimited conference is being held in Osoyoos this weekend, and I'm not sure that it's ever been here before, but I know that they invited me to come for dinner or something, so that's on Saturday. So we hope everybody will have a nice week, that it gets a little bit warmer so you can enjoy the long weekend, and thank you everybody for participating. Oh,
one last comment.
Yes.
I just had to mention that over this health issue, I had an experience at the hospital yesterday. We did have a doctor there. We had absolutely wonderful care. And yes, we were there for 5 or 6 hours, but it was an extensive investigation that had to be done with my elderly friend that I had there. But it was a great experience. And there was a doctor, and I did thank her for coming to work on Sunday.
Well, thank you, and that's a good thing to hear. Thank you very much. Okay, Could we have a motion to close the meeting, please? Thank you. Councillor Campbell, Councillor Youngberg, all in favor. Thank you very